We use one cutting board until you finish on it. If you watch it, it's probably not that good.
Where would you go with it? They just say
Fridays. I know Fridays we have to do Fridays.
He says no.
You know what I mean? So
I
like
have a desire.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be frustrating.
Fridays meeting.
I do too.
I mean, I know it's good, but like,
And to be like, this is let's explore your use this weekend. And like, oh,
to some degree, I'm not.
I know what it is, but I'm volunteering, but we don't have a plan.
Definitely just. They have a study of body.
Are you going to?
So I'm going to turn your attention back to the group.
That's what my friend just said. I believe the writer is he's no, I don't know how to go with that. Yeah.
And this reminded me, if you think of this more in therapeutic language than teaching language, this is the part in problem solving where you're venting. This is allowing the other person to get that feeling. As we know in problem solving, you get stuck in the feeling, you can't move forward. But letting people vent briefly has shown that it helps them get to problem solving. The thing with this is you don't want to stay too long in the venting. This needs to just be, here's the problem, here's how I feel. I'm going to answer you. Please remember to be specific instead of that sounded frustrating. Right? Sorry, what's the problem again? Oh, you didn't get the raise. When you asked for a raise and your boss said no, that sounded really frustrating. Instead of the generic that sounded. Again, because it's active listening, we're saying I heard exactly what you say. You're getting the situation and the feeling out there, so you get to vent. Release that emotion, but then you want to move them into problem solving. And this is not solving it for them. Because here's one of the problems in the teaching mode, the therapeutic mode, they make you solve your own. When you're in the teaching mode, then sometimes you just want to solve it for the children. There's actually a lot of value in learning to solve your own problem. Again, it's about power, control, independence. And it's about trust. I trust you to start this process. I'm going to help you through this. The more that we come in and solve it for them and rescue them, the less learning there is that's happening there. And there's a lot of value in arguing or disagreeing for children because it helps them move into the problem-solving process. You're guiding it out of the back and forth. Yes, you are. No, you are. Now let's move into what's the problem? What are your ideas? Let's move forward from there. Several things came up here that Allison wanted to talk about, and they were excluding.
I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah, so you have a lot of that going on. There's little cliques or groups, and you don't want to work with this group, but you do want to work
I had it 1 week just with two girls who are normally friends, and they were having issues with each other and sitting at the opposite ends and kind of getting their friends involved, saying like, oh, no, be her friend because she doesn't want to be my friend.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any strategies, or did you try anything you thought was semi-successful, or?
For the most part, it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was a small issue, but we just kind of ignored it and they were fine.
If someone's not feeling left out, you can ignore it. Was some child really feeling?
No, they were more just angry at each other.
So it wasn't, so what happened with us this morning is two children was specifically excluding a third child. I couldn't ignore that because that child did feel very hurt, left out, picked on. And plus they were using what I call the royal we. Well, we have decided, so everybody speaks for themselves here. You can tell me what you want, you can tell me what you want, but we don't do this, we speak together against you, we say. Yeah, so often what's going to happen with older elementary children is going to be that, like a little tiff. If it's just the two of them, if you can see no one's being bullied, if no one's clearly the bully or the victim, it's just a disagreeing, they've had a falling out, you know that they're usually friends, you figure it'll be better the next day, you can safely ignore that. But just make sure that you're not letting somebody get victimized, and you can usually tell by their body language.
So how would you address it if you do feel that they're being victimized?
That's a whole other couple of hours. I could give you guys some information on bullying. The main thing to know about bullying, without giving you all the literature and all the stuff, is that every part of the problem has to get fixed. So usually if there's bullying, what do we want to do? What's your
Support the
Stop it.
stop it? And some people just say to focus all their energy on the bully. We're going to fix him, we're going to change him. Some people put all their energy into the victim. I'm going to save you, I'm going to support you. The research, all the information out there after Columbine, this is huge. You can get money for studying bullying. There's all these websites. You got to address the bully's behavior. Remember those mistaken goals. Why are they being the bully? To feel powerful, to feel in control, to get attention. Why is this child usually the victim? That's really hard to do when a child is continually the victim, even in preschool. And bully, victim are usually words we just use for school-age children and up because of preschool's limited cognitive skills. They're not really doing much legitimate bullying. But this child is a classic victim already at 4, young 4. And so we had to bully-proof her. We had to make her more assertive and keep her safe until she could be assertive on her own. We were her backup because she got picked on all the time because she gave the exact reaction they wanted. She screamed, she cried, she ran to the teacher, and that was the child's goal. And it's also a systematic thing. All the adults have to be in on stopping it when you have that going on. My dad was a high school teacher, and there were some high school, in his school there were some hallways where there was a lot of things going on between classes. And he found out, like the hall next to his, between classes, he stepped out of his room and he was in the hall and supervising people at their lockers. And the hall next to his, he would always hear all this stuff. He figured out all those teachers just stayed in their room and kept their doors closed. So all of the high school kids figured that out. So all the bullying was going on in that part of the building between classes. So all the adults have to buy in. You have to help and support the victim while making them more assertive so they stop being such a victim. And then you have to do lots of things with changing the bully's behavior. But I mean, there's lots of specifics. I just don't have time in this format to tell you. But I can send you resources. They're everywhere. Colorado has some really good .org stuff they put together. That's pretty accessible. And remember that bullying is not just, it's not just physical, it's also verbal. So girls tend to do more verbal bullying, social aggression we call it. Boys tend to just slug it out and forget about it and move on. And to really be bullying, it's continuous and ongoing, which is also why preschoolers don't do it. They're not that consistent. But it's a really big issue for school in general. Yeah. Did somebody else come up in your group that you wanted to specifically address? Is there anything else that came up specifically you guys wanted to address? We've pretty much gone through everything except this last piece under active listening and iMessages, which is problem solving or conflict resolution. So I used Thomas Gordon's work because it's really clear, and he calls it the no-lose. On my handouts, page 7 toward the bottom, right above the resources. And he calls it the no-lose method, so everybody should feel at the end that they helped solve the problem. Find it.
At the bottom 6.
Oh, it's
Bottom of 6, there you go. Thank you. So you use this when more than one child owns the problem. So when 2 children have a problem with each other, this is a method you can use to take them through. You don't take sides. You just say, I hear that you 2 are having a problem, I'm going to help you solve it. That's really hard to stay neutral, but you don't want to damage your relationship with either child. And he calls it the no-lose method of conflict resolution, so that children are finding some mutually acceptable solution. And I urge you not to just step to the end. If you let them generate the solutions, they're more likely to abide by them. Sometimes we come in and think we know the answer, but we're not children. We see things differently. You have to remember they have a different point of view. And I'm most successful when I don't assume what the solution is and I let them generate it. You won't have this exact solution because they're older, but they can surprise you. So a child had been really physical with another child, and he was the child in the class with the most challenging behavior. I was trying to stay really positive about him and help him. The child was sort of the classic victim of the group who got